Amen. So we're approaching the holiday of Simchat Torah, and for every Jew, Simchat Torah is a highlight of the entire holiday season. From the beginning of the holiday season, which starts in the month of Elul, we're going higher and higher, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Hoshana Rabbah, Shmini Atzeres, and the ultimate expression of godliness in the world, till Mashiach comes, is Simchat Torah. But this year, it seems that, but there is a bit of a scar. Unfortunately, for those who lost actual family members, lost friends, and it's a real thing. The question is, how are we approaching Simchat Torah this year? How are we meant to dance this year? How are we meant to be strong this year and celebrate when we're coming from Simchat Torah of last year and we haven't yet Mashiach hasn't yet come. Mashiach comes tonight, then there's no question. But if Chas Mashiach is delayed, what does it mean to Simchat Torah this year? Yeah, better.
We heard in Kali Sukkah that the soldier said, "You dance for us, we're going to fight for you."
Okay.
They have their job, we have our job.
Good. The question is about the very good. It's that's the direction we need to go. Tonight is the Yushpizin of Rabbi Marash and Yosef Tzaddik, and I think through their guidance, we have an answer to this question. The Rabbi Marash taught the world says try to duck under an obstacle. If you can't duck under the obstacle, then go over the obstacle. But I said the Rabbi Marash, there is no obstacle. Go straight over. That means for a Jew there is no obstacle. That's something we know from Rabbi Marash. From Yosef Tzaddik, another anecdote from Yosef Tzaddik. Yosef Tzaddik, we know, had this great challenge with the wife of Potiphar, and at the last second before he was about to succumb, God forbid, to making a mistake that would affect the destiny of himself and all the Jewish people, he saw an image of his father. And the words the Talmud uses for image of his father is he saw Demus Knoi, which literally means he saw his own image. Then it says his image of his father. And the Chassidic Mashal say this means he saw the way his father looked at him. I think that's the direction we have to, these two teachings, Rabbi Marash and Yosef Tzaddik, give us some context of where we're going this year. Let me start with this. Rabbi Simon Jacobson was once visiting London, and every shul has a candy man, and the candy man was very gifted. All the children in the shul are surrounding the candy man, and they're all listening to him and hanging around with him, and it was unusual. The English people aren't known to be so warm, so this candy man was very warm, very passionate. All the kids are around him, he's joking with them, and he asked him, "Tell me about your career over here as a candy man." So he said like this. He said that he lost his wife and children in the Holocaust. And friends of his told him that it would be good for him to visit the Lubavitcher Rebbe, visit the Rebbe. And when he visited the Rebbe, something happened to him that made a deep impression on him. He wasn't able to cry, as many Holocaust survivors weren't able to cry after the Holocaust. But when he met the Rebbe, and he felt the Rebbe's love and warmth to him, he melted. He melted and he was able to cry. And he asked the Rebbe, what should he do about all those that he lost? He lost his wife, he lost his children. What should he do about all those that he lost? And the Rebbe said that the love you have for your wife and children is holy. And that you have to hold on to that. Give that love to every child that you meet. Give that love to every child. Give them the love that you have for your wife and children. Give that love to every child. Don't let that love go away. Give that love. And that's what he did. That's what Rabbi Jacobson observed. This guy was unusual. He wasn't just giving out candies. He was giving out the love that he had for his children, the love that he had for his spouse. It was alive in him. When Moshe Rabbeinu was talking to Hashem about various kinds of impurity, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, for each kind of impurity, this is the issue, this is the way it's fixed. This is the issue, this is the way it's fixed. But there was one particular kind of impurity. Hashem didn't tell Moshe Rabbeinu how it's fixed. Which one was that, Zalman? That the Parshas Emer? You know? The impurity of a dead body. When it came to the issue of impurity of a dead body, here Hashem didn't tell him how to fix it. And Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem, what's going to happen here? If someone touched a dead body, what's going to happen? What's the message? How could they possibly be healed from this? And Hashem didn't answer. And Moshe's face became darkened, thinking there's no way out. That's a story the Torah says. And later the Torah says that later on, when Hashem told Moshe, Parshas Chukas, Hashem said to Moshe, you asked me a question, how could someone who touched a dead body, how could they become pure? I didn't answer you. I'm going to answer you now. It's through the ashes of the red heifer being mixed with the water and then being sprinkled with this water. That's how they're purified. That's what Hashem told Moshe.
Rabbi, sorry to interrupt. For those who just came in, unfortunately couldn't come on time, can you just summarize it without the details like this?
We want to know the celebration of Simchat Torah this year in light of the tragedy of last year. And the message that Rabbi gave to this Holocaust survivor that we started with was that he should give the love that he had for those who he lost to his children, to any child he meets. So on that note, we started discussion about the red heifer. The red heifer, the Torah says, by the way, the hamburgers have arrived, Mashiach has not yet arrived, the hamburgers are here. Please, anyone wants to have a hamburger, it's kosher, and it's encouraged, and it will help you concentrate.
Can people have 1 minute to go to the class and then come back? Because then people don't want to miss it. They may not see it every time.
It's going to be on YouTube. You can watch it later.
Don't worry, Yosef. Your life is good.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Or maybe you can sing a minute.
Yes, sir. Don't worry.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. It was just a question. It was a request. I apologize. Do what you have to do.
Okay. You too. Go watch. Yes, sir, please watch. There was once this tzaddik who
We're not going to hear about Moshe?
we're going to have an introduction. And while everyone watches the introduction.
I know it's also...
Yeah.
I know it's also even for 20 minutes.
This tzaddik, he was coughing, and his son brought his father a tea. So his father said, "My son, in Atzilus, they don't drink tea." So his son said to his father, "But Dad, in Atzilus, they don't cough either." So there's a higher world where hamburgers aren't necessary. In the world that we live in, hamburgers help you concentrate. Okay, so getting back to Moshe Rabbeinu. So Moshe Rabbeinu asked a question, and he asked a question about the impurity of a dead body. Moshe's question wasn't only about the impurity of a dead body. Moshe's question was also about the whole concept of death. Death, physical death, but also spiritual death. Moshe was asking a question, what do you do in a situation where there's a chas v'shalom, there's a total loss? And Hashem didn't answer Moshe. Hashem's silence was actually an answer. Hashem's silence was acknowledging that there is a kind of loss, chas v'shalom, that astounds a person. That's very painful. And Hashem acknowledged that there is no, I'm not going to answer you because there's something which isn't answered. There's something which remains above logic and reason. There's something which can't be addressed. Hashem's silence itself was saying that the grief and the harm and the pain of death is something which remains a mystery. However, Hashem did address the question later. And Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu what the answer is, what the approach is. What's the approach? What's the answer? The answer is the red heifer is burnt and the ashes are mixed with water. Ashes and water represent seemingly two paradoxical states. What are ashes? Ashes remain after something is burnt. Ashes tell you that before there were ashes, there was life, and now there's something black and dry and empty. And ashes tell you what once was, that there's no longer the life that once was. That's what ashes represent. On the other hand, water, as we learned last week, Water represents life. When scientists want to know if there's life on other planets, the first thing they look for is there water? Most of the world is covered with water. Most of the body is made of water. When a baby is born, it's enveloped in water. The Torah says the world was created, it was enveloped in water. So water represents life. So ordinarily, without the Torah telling us to mix the ashes with the water, we look at life and we think that the world is black and white, that there is life and there is death and they're separate, and they're not connected to each other. The Torah says that to mix the ashes with the water. Mixing the ashes with the water means that in the same place where there's the ending of one thing, there's the beginning of the next. In the same moment when the neshama finishes its life in this world, at that moment, the neshama begins its life in the next world. Tonight's the night, unfortunately, I lost my father, but tonight's the night that he began his life in the next world, life in Gan Eden, life in a higher world. So in the same way, the Torah is telling us always that there aren't two different, there's no dissonance, no schism between the coals, between the ashes and the water, between what is life and what is death. Really, it's all life. It's all life. Because there is a connection between the ashes and the water, mix them together. The Torah says, realize that where you see the ending is also beginning. This is a true story. I may not know all the details correctly. The story was about this.
Basically, when there's ending, there's a beginning.
Right.
When the physical body ends, the neshama's life.
Right.
Yeah.
And similarly, in every situation where there is a loss, there's a new beginning. How sorry are you?
Within the body there was the neshama. I apologize. Within the body there was neshama. So
let's stop for a second. Let's say that Chaim V'Rachim is a Leicha. They live to be a Mashiach forever. Chaim V'Rachim.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so there was a soccer player who played for a professional team. I think it was in England, and he used to bring his father to watch him play every week. And this player wasn't the best player, so he wasn't really chosen to be one of the first of the 12 players in the game. When someone got injured, when someone messed up, it was a foul, ejected, then this guy was brought in the game. And every week he would come with his father. One week, the coach calls him and says, listen, you're trying, I know you're usually second fiddle, usually we don't like you in the beginning of the game, but this week, I'm going to give you an opportunity, you're going to be from one of the Asari Yishayim, you're going to be one of the first guys playing the game. He's like, wow, really, me? Yeah, you. Amazing. He's excited. Comes that Sunday, he calls up the coach, he says, I can't come and play. Why not? My father died. Oh, your father died? Okay, I'm sorry. He calls him an hour before the game, and he says, I'm coming to play. I know the other guy, you put someone else there. If he doesn't mind, I want to take the opportunity you gave me first. The other guy agrees, he comes in the game, and he plays like he never played before. And he scores 2 goals. And and after the game, celebration, they put him on their shoulders, MVP, champagne. And the coach asked him, what happened over here? How come first you said, you can play, then you said, you're going to play, I understood you couldn't play. Your father died. Why did you have to play? He said, listen, my father was blind. My father couldn't see. I realized this is the first time my dad could see me play. That's why he was able to play with such enthusiasm and such success, because he was realizing, now my dad can see me play. This is what Yosef HaTzadik experienced. Yosef HaTzadik, hold on. By the way, if you're sorry, Abba, raise your hand, and I call you, you can talk. Is that fair? Okay, hold on. So Yosef HaTzadik, he says, because my father can see me, and I can see my father looks at me, therefore Yosef HaTzadik is strong. Yes, Yosef HaTzadik, what do you want to say?
So I was going to say, I apologize. So when the neshama goes up to heaven, they can continuously see their family members, like what's going on?
Yeah.
Is that what you're
That's the reality, yeah. That's correct. As the Gemara said, Yodach Oven Beit Tzara. The neshamas in Gan Eden, they are connected to souls that they loved in this world, 100%. Okay. So getting back to our subject over here about those who passed away last year on Simchat Torah, if we were to be able to listen to them, we were to be able to hear them, be able to suddenly, be able to hear what they would tell us. Obviously, our physical ears can't hear them. But maybe with, as Baruch says, with our neshamameter, we could hear something they were to ask us. What would they say? What would they be asking us? They would be saying, I think, if you listen, I think they'll be saying is that don't let the loss of our life stop you. Don't let the fire of the Torah be extinguished. Let our sacrifice contribute to the light of the Jewish people. Let the light and the fire of the Jewish people continue and grow. Let our sacrifice strengthen you, so that the dancing, the singing, and the Simchat Torah is on a whole different level, with a different light and different passion than ever before. Don't let our passing end the dancing. Let it begin a new kind of dancing, with a new kind of joy and experience and warmth than ever was seen before.
But it was worth it to come here tonight just to hear that.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Because, unfortunately, passing away is a reality of life, and you clarified it from a Torah standpoint how a person should react after 120 years. Thank you very much. May Hashem bless you.
Yes. Thank you.
He came back to play, and he won, and then he asked me why.
Why do we have to play this way? They said this is the first time my dad could see me. His father passed away. My father's whole life was blind. So he was blind. Now that he died, now he can see me play.
Oh, wow.
There was an Israeli pilot.
Wow.
His name is Gideon Katz. Gideon Katz served in the Israeli Air Force, and the general of the Mefaked, the commander of the Air Force, he said that this guy is so good that when he retires, Gideon's going to take him over. Gideon was invited by the Rabbi of the Air Force, together with many other pilots, to visit Auschwitz. Gideon went with 400 pilots to Auschwitz. Gideon's grandmother, you heard the story before?
No.
Gideon's grandmother, Bruya Varker was her last name, Bruya Varker. She was a Holocaust survivor, and she never spoke about the Holocaust. She never said one word about the Holocaust. And so, not even a hint, not any occasion, she never said one word. But he told her, I'm going to visit Auschwitz. And she said to him, I have a Tehillim. I want you to take this Tehillim with you. You had an old Tehillim, you take the Tehillim with you. He goes together with the other pilots. They go to visit Auschwitz. And it's a very emotional thing. You can imagine, those who've been there. And they're there for Shabbos. And after the whole emotional experience of seeing the mounds of shoes, the watches, he goes to shul on Shabbos. He opens up a siddur. He wants to say Kaddish. He doesn't connect with it. And he closes the siddur, and he's so not in touch with Judaism. After Shabbos, they visited the last death camp they hadn't gone to before. I forgot what it was called. And when everyone goes to visit the death camp, Gideon just decides he needs to go off by himself. He doesn't want to be with everyone. He just feels himself being drawn somewhere. Where is he drawn to? He's drawn to the showers, or the gas chambers. He comes to the gas chamber. Next to the gas chambers is a crematorium. And he comes to the crematorium, and he just feels like he wants to dance. And he feels like he's going crazy. Like, why is he? He feels like he's in a crematorium, and he feels his hands and his feet. And he starts singing. There's a song he learned in Israel on one occasion, and one Jewish experience he had. Rejoice and be happy, the joy of the Torah, being honored the Torah. He hears this song, and he's trying to make sense of this, but he can't. And he calls up his mother. He's away from home for a while. He calls up his mother. His mom, I don't know what's going on. She says, where are you? She says the name of the camp. I'm at the crematorium, and I just feel I just feel like I want to dance, and I don't know what this is. And his mother is silent. He says, call grandmother, call mommy, call my mom, call Bruria. He's like, Mom, why would I call her? She doesn't talk about the Holocaust I don't want to bring back. Just call her. He calls up his grandmother, and his grandmother tells him the following. His grandmother says, where exactly are you? She tells him where he is in this death camp, in the gas chambers. And she asks him, do you see Barrack 121? He says, yeah, you can see Barrack 121 is right next to the gas chambers. She's like, I tell you why you want to dance. Let me tell you why you want to dance now. She says that she was brought to the gas chamber. She was brought to Auschwitz with her father. Her father, she said, Gidi, you're named after my father, Gidon. Gidon was my father, your great-grandfather. Your father, he worked together with other Jews, and when they finished, while they were working, they were beaten by the Nazis, and at one point, they finished their work. There was some Jews that the job was to move the bodies, and when they finished, then the Nazis went for a cigarette break, and the Jews are able to rest from their work somewhat. While the Jews are resting from the work, did your father pull out a piece of a paper from a book of Tehillim, one page of a book of Tehillim? He says to other Jews, he says, let's dance with Simchat Torah. Today is Simchat Torah, let's dance with Simchat Torah. And he starts singing. And he says, I saw this, I was 8 years old in Auschwitz, I saw this. I saw my father hold a piece of paper, and they pretended it was a Sefer Torah, and they were dancing with a piece of paper, dancing with a page of Tehillim that they had. And they're dancing, and the Nazis see that they're dancing and singing, the Nazis kill them all. She says, you're saying that you felt like dancing and singing, you're staying in the same place as your great-grandfather, you're staying in that place. That's where you wanted to dance. So there is the dancing of neshamas in this world, and there's a dancing of neshamas in Gan Eden. The neshamas in Gan Eden don't have feet. They don't have hands. And they're looking for hands and feet to dance with the Torah. And our hands and our feet are the way they dance with the Torah. When we dance and sing and we celebrate with the Torah, we're bringing them to be able to dance with the Torah. There was...
But why specifically with dancing? Is it also with doors?
Very good question. I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine, he's a rabbi, and one of his congregants lost a child at a very young age. So he made a fund in memory of his son, a loan fund. He lends out money for free to many people. And the fund's going on for decades. Somebody asked him, so you do this whole fund for your son. You have such enthusiasm in this fund. But he asked him, how is it possible you're so enthusiastic about this fund? The Talmud says that a person forgets about their deceased after a year. So how come you're not forgetting about your deceased? How come you should forget about it? The heart forgets about the deceased after a year. You're not forgetting. So he says, look at the words of the Talmud carefully. The Talmud says the deceased is forgotten from the heart, not forgotten from the mind. He said that his son's passing gave him a new perspective in life. Made him realize what life is really about. Made him understand what we're alive for. So, bottom line is, it's not just, as you said, it's not just Simchat Torah. The whole year is Simchat Torah. The whole year is a light of Mashiach shines in the world, and it shines the greatest and the highest way in Simchat Torah. So, the first thing that we need to take from tonight, and the Rebbe Marash goes straight over, that there's an obstacle. The world says an obstacle. You have no choice, says the world. You have no choice. You're not supposed to mourn Simchat Torah. You have to dance. That's the way the world says. Says the Rebbe Marash, I say go straight over. I say there is no obstacle. I say that with their sacrifice and with their Mesiras Nefesh, that itself is the life of our dancing. That is the life of the joy of Simchat Torah. That is the life of the joy of the Jewish people. It is their Mesiras Nefesh, which is a Medes B'Kirbeinu, which stands within us and empowers us to rise above the foolish challenges of the here and now, and bring us to really celebrate the Simcha Rabbah, with the Simcha Torah.
And also, before you turn off the camera, like you said earlier, the neshamas in Gan Eden, they're continuing to live, and they don't want us to, because they're not here to neglect our
Where the hands? Right.
They want us to continue.
They want us to dance. Yeah. They want us to sing. They want us to celebrate.
If we don't do the Torah mitzvahs, that's what's going to bring them sadness.
Right. Right.
Or dancing.
Right.
Or dancing is going to bring them joy.
Right. 100%. 100%. They feel us. Let me say it this way, Yosef. Souls in heaven are very selfless. More than they feel themselves, they feel us. More than they feel whatever they're experiencing, they feel us because they're selfless. So when we're Simchas Torah, they feel the simcha of Simchas Torah. They don't just want the actions of the dancing. They want the joy of Simchas Torah.
Before you turn off the video, you said that tonight is a yard sign of your father.
Yeah.
I never met your father, but I know about him. Because, and I just want to speak for 1 minute about him. I was going to say, that don't turn it off.
I'm putting it on you.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that, children, no kid is born to be a soccer player, mathematician, a scientist, a physician. The way the child is nurtured is that's what the child becomes. So, what I want to say about your father is, don't turn it up. Don't turn it up. What I want to say about your father is, I'm going to talk about your sibling. What I want to say about your father is that, Baruch Hashem, we have a very good rabbi in our synagogue, and Baruch Hashem, who has a big heart, generous heart, open, wide hand, desire to help. And Baruch Hashem, and I know he's worked on himself, and not to take any credit away from him. But without taking any credit away from him, I just want to say that I am 100% positive. It's impossible that a child, especially because giving is so hard, and the selfish life that we live in, the society. It's impossible that a child can, be loving and caring and, be a counselor and a guide to many people, not just the rich people who want to donate money, anybody. So this is, the nurturing of your father and your mother, and, your father should have a very long, I was going to say, your father's neshama should have an aliyah,
Amen.
And he should have a lot. I'm sure. I was going to say he should have a lot of nachas from what you're doing,
Amen.
But I'm sure he's having a lot of nachas, and I envy him.
Thank you, Yosef.
And your mother, Havdil being those whose neshama is in their bodies, and those whose neshama is in their body. I want to also thank your mother for doing a good job with you, nurturing you, and again, not to take any credit away from you, but I did want to say thank your father for raising you to give you to our community. Okay, thank you.
Yosef, who was the first one that Torah says was loved? Who was the first one loved? Who was the first one that Torah says was loved? The first one that was loved, Torah says, was Warren. The Torah says that Yitzchak loved Rivka, and Rivka loved Yaakov, and Yaakov loved Rachel, and Rachel loved Yosef. In order to be able to love, you have to be loved. So thank you for the love, Yosef. Rivka loved Yaakov.
In order to get love, you have to receive love.
Yeah.
Very good. So
Rivka loves Yaakov, and Yaakov loves Rachel, and Rachel loves Yosef. Chaim l'chaim, Mashiach now. We should celebrate Simchat Torah. Mashiach tzedkeinu. Chaim l'chaim.